We protect, persist, and attack.
Stand up, fight back.
Stand up, fight back.
We protect, persist, and attack.
We protect, persist, and attack.
We won't back down and we will not fail.
We won't back down. We will not fail.
Democracy won't fail.
Democracy won't fail.
Protect, persist, prevail.
Protect, persist, prevail.
Whose rights?
Our rights.
Whose fight?
Our fight.
Yeah.
You don't know me. I'm Joy Rice. I'm the lead organizer. So excited that you guys came out in the cold. So here's the plan. We're going to rally around here. We got our chants down. We're going to open it up and let my friend and my mentor warm up the crowd here. And then we're going to march up that street and over to the courthouse where there's tables, there's volunteers, there's hot drinks. Right up the road at the courthouse. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Karen Reynolds. Woo!
Hey, look at this crowd, Clarksville. This is what power looks like. Let's go. We marched today to show that we are not backing down. We are here to protect personal freedom, healthcare, and education. We are here to say loud and clear, we will organize, we will fight, and we will win.
Yeah.
Let's have some show our hands to see who's out in the audience. Who marched in the original 2017 March for Women's? Who marched or resisted in 18, 19, or 20? Who marched or resisted when Roe fell? That's right. We've all been here before. We've stood up before and we're still standing. They keep coming at us, but we keep coming back. Stronger, louder, and more determined. Back in 2017, I was like many of you, showing up, marching, figuring out how to fight back. That march, those follow-up meetings, and the power we built together gave me the courage to be one of the original founders of Clarksville Indivisible. Woo! That work led me to run and win my first political race as city council. And then I went on and I ran for state senate. We do not win every fight. But you know what? That doesn't mean we stop fighting. Because when we fight, we change the game. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to protect, persist, and prevail. Say it with me. Protect, persist, and prevail. We're going to delay, distract, and limit their attacks. Delay, distract, and limit their attacks. We're going to tell our stories. Yes, we are going to be a pain in their ass. Let's be real. Winning the election by 49.9% does not make you a dictator for life.
Right.
And it sure as hell doesn't mean that Project 2025 is going to become the law of the land. Hell no. This administration and Republican allies are coming for our rights. Our right to make decisions about our bodies, our right to send our children to strong public schools, our right to fair wages, and our right to safety. And what are we going to do? We're going to be a pain in their ass. That's right.
We'll get it eventually.
We're going to show up at meetings. We're going to flood their inboxes. We're going to call, protest, and organize. We're going to hold every single one of them from the local to the federal level accountable. And listen, you don't need a PhD in policy to fight back. You don't have, and it is clear that we don't have to agree on everything in every single detail to know what's right. We don't need to agree on the perfect healthcare plan to fight back against gutting Medicaid. We don't need a flawless immigration policy to know that we're not ripping families apart. For the next 2 years, no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
No is a complete sentence. Some of us will play offense and some of us will play defense, but we're all in this together. So here's what I need all of you to do. Find your role in this fight. If you're a fan of an existing group, join it and show up. If you don't see a group that's fighting for what matters to you, start one. If there's a union in your workplace, join it and pay your dues. They will be the first line of defense for our working families. If you can help tell the stories of those under attack, tell them. Just look at the power of Allie Phillips' story as we fight for reproductive freedom. That's how we are going to win this. So, repeat after me. We're going to protect, persist, and prevail.
Protect, persist, and
Delay, distract, and to limit their attacks. We're gonna tell our stories, and we're gonna be a pain in the ass. We're gonna be what? It starts today. It starts now. Let's march. Drum and leave them over there. Everybody, line up behind the banners. We have signs here. Still have signs. Well, stay calm.
I'm not used to cleaning my
This is oh. Ready?
All right.
Slow down. Right.
All right, yeah, bring it on in. Bring it on in. We're gonna get started here.
Okay, we're too cold. We gotta huddle. I know. Yeah. Mike up there. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for showing up on this very, very cool day.
I don't think it's
on. Is it not on? Okay.
Try enunciating.
Okay, how about now? Okay, so thank you everyone for coming out today. My name is Jessica Johnston. I'm the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus of Montgomery County. But today I am your MC and we're going to be introducing our amazing lineup of speakers who will share ways to get involved and fight back against the harmful legislation that continues to plague our most vulnerable communities in Tennessee and nationwide. The People's March is just a dog in our journey towards progress. Showing up today should not be the only thing you do. Organizers desperately need volunteers and people to get involved and use their voices, not just during election year, but every year. And justice does not rest after the voting booth closes and definitely after the election results roll in. We need to meet it at every turn, because it's in the downtime when abortion rights are criminalized. It's in the downtime when hateful laws target transgender and queer people. It's in the downtime when America's history of racism and imperialism is whitewashed in our schools. It's in the downtime when gun violence and mass shootings terrorize spaces where we should be safe. It's in the downtime when immigrants are demonized and separated from their families. It's in the downtime when corporations and our government put profit before the working class and make healthcare unaffordable and unattainable. And it's in the downtime when we're all subjected to preventable climate and environmental disasters. So, as you listen to our speakers and talk to others you meet today, think about where you want to use your time and voice. Think about how you're going to show up in our community, whether that's volunteering with these organizations or holding our elected officials accountable at city council, county commission, school board, and state legislative meetings. And most importantly, listen and follow those who have been fighting for justice and freedom for generations. So, to kick us off, I'm going to turn over to a tireless advocate for public schools and a fighter against the voucher scam forcing its way into our state. Please welcome the president of the Clarksville Montgomery County Education Association, Stephanie Outlaw.
Thank you. It is great to be here with everybody. I'm very impressed with everybody showing up out here in this frigid weather. I think that's a nice way to put it. I am Stephanie Outlaw. I am the president of Clarksville Montgomery County Education Association. I'm also a teacher in our public school system. I'm a mom, a grandmother, a veteran, and also veterans out there, and also a proud member of Public School Strong. I am very concerned with this voucher bill that our governor is trying to pass. That's why I'm here today, because it is very important that we speak out against it. It's very important that we talk to our legislators and let them know that this voucher bill will do nothing for public school systems. It will harm public school systems. It will drain money from our public school systems. It is a substitute for existing private school students and a handout to out-of-state special interests. It will redirect hundreds of millions of dollars a year that could be supporting the public schools and educate 90% of our kids. This bill creates new costs to Tennessee taxpayers, because students funded by the voucher do not have to be current public school students. Will this result in a property tax increase? Who wants that? Who can afford that? This voucher is a missed investment of $33.9 million in Clarksville Montgomery County school system over a 5-year period. To perspective, that could fund 612 annual teacher salaries. Private schools are allowed to choose their students and are not held to the same accountability standards as public schools. This leaves public schools with fewer resources to serve higher proportions of vulnerable populations, such as students with disabilities and English language learners. Private schools are not required to serve students with disabilities. Data shows that the voucher students are less diverse in their communities and creating a substantial equity concern. We have school choice within our school system. We have academies, career academies in our school system, or in Clarksville Montgomery County education, or Clarksville Montgomery County school system. We have a virtual option. We have the early technical college at TCAT, and we have middle college. If parents want a private education for their children, they have that choice as well, but they should pay for it. Taxpayers.
It's for public school.
What he said. Out-of-state special interests are pushing this voucher bill. They are not from Tennessee, and they do not know or understand the needs of our students. I do not trust that they have the education of Clarksville Montgomery County students in their best interest. I do trust that they want our tax dollars with little or no accountability. So please, please make sure you contact your legislators. They need to hear from us. They need to hear that we do not support this bill, because apparently there was a survey put out there to 1,200 Tennesseans only. And that is what's driving this whole rhetoric about it being popular. There's more than 1,200 people in Tennessee. It can't be that popular. But we have got to contact our legislators and let them know. This will do nothing for us. It will do nothing for our school system, but harm it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Our next speaker comes from the Tennessee Immigration and Refugee Rights Coalition, also known as TURC. She is also a DACA student at Austin Peay. Welcome Juana Chavez to the stage.
I need to get a little higher up here. All right. Hi guys. My name is Juana Chavez. I just need to pull up my speech really quick. Right. So as stated, my name is Juana Chavez, and I am a DACA student at Austin Peay State University. That's another story. I have been in this country for 28 years now, and I'm tired, like I've been fighting it for 28 years. So my whole life, I've kind of been seen as the golden immigrant. I did good in school, I followed all the laws, doing everything that they claim that they want an immigrant to be. But even then, I'm standing here in front of you guys, still fighting every day for my existence and the existence of my family and my community. Basically, regardless of what we do and how many rules we follow, they have made up their mind about my community. Not one of us is deserving of their acceptance, but you know what? We don't need their acceptance. My community will continue to be the golden, beautiful community it is, the one they fear because they cannot dim our light. Our fight continues. As we gear up for this legislative session and prepare for Trump's continued scapegoating, demonization, and attacking of my community, we want to send a message that's loud and clear. Immigrants are integral to this country's past, present, and future, and we are here to Immigrants are woven into the very fabric that makes Tennessee and the rest of our country strong and resilient, and that doesn't change with who is in the Oval Office. Myself and everyone at Church believe that no administration will save us. It is up to the power of the people. Our vision remains the same. We're going to continue fighting together with our strength, with our resilience. I am a DACA recipient. I am a combination of Mexican resilience and strength, but I grew up with the American dream and American values.
All right. So I'm very excited to introduce our next speaker. Maxwell Jasper Bearden is a multiply disabled transgender educator in the public school system. Very passionate about disability, accessibility, and inclusion, queer trans rights, and harm reduction. Please welcome MJ. Thank you.
All right, gotta pull up my speech too. All right, ready?
Yeah.
My name is Maxwell Jasper Bearden. I am a physically disabled autistic person who uses they, them pronouns. I am here today to talk to you about my concerns and hopes for disability, accessibility, and inclusion in 2025. First of all, I want to say that in the past year, I have met many brilliant groups that serve disabled people in Tennessee. Clarksville Adventurers, Clarksville Association for Down Syndrome, Full Spectrum Learning at APSU, and Autism Tennessee, to name a few. I have also had the honor of meeting and working with hundreds of disabled individuals with a plethora of different experiences, support needs, and diagnoses. Unfortunately, these populations are still critically underserved and unrepresented. From a local to a worldwide level, disabled individuals face increasing discrimination, isolation, and misrepresentation. Our pedestrian walkways here and our pathways remain unclean, unsafe, and inaccessible for individuals with disabilities. My blind friends have to report their own accessibility concerns to the college that's supposed to serve them. In the past 5 years, over 500 people with disabilities have been murdered by their caregivers due to their conditions. A lack of caregiver respite and support for disabled adults with higher needs only increases this crisis. School vouchers threaten to endanger the accommodations, supports, and our funding for education, and special education specifically. Facilities continue to use electric shock devices to punish developmentally and cognitively disabled individuals despite FDA and community pushback. Even within activist spaces, disabled people remain absent. Lack of accommodations, interpreters, or communication continues to isolate this incredibly marginalized population. And this is where you and I step in. I urge you, advocate for people with disabilities, within your life and outside of it. Everybody knows somebody with a disability. Maybe a classmate, an elderly grandmother, a friend with a mental illness, a neighbor living in a group home. Don't assume that someone else thought about disability inclusion in your area. Wheelchair accessibility, booking that interpreter. Be the person who asks, because I guarantee you no one else has asked about it. Parents, invite the students in inclusion classes to your child's birthday party. Businesses, consider offering job training or positions to disabled individuals. It costs nothing but a touch of time and patience to help a person navigate a busy street, to take a little longer to explain something. And it surely costs nothing to remove ableist language and concepts from your conversations and activism.
Yeah.
In 2025, I will be launching and expanding my own organization, Inclusify Me. This organization will be dedicated to increasing accessibility, inclusion, and diversity initiatives for disabled people, including those with profound and complex diagnoses. I will hold a vigil for the Disability Day of Remembrance and Mourning, which mourns those that were murdered by their caregivers, on March 1st, and will be launching inclusive events, support groups, and classes throughout the year. In a world where disabled people are constantly sidelined and marginalized and maligned, it is up to individuals like the people I see in front of me to support and include our disabled population. Remember, when you embrace accessibility, you embrace humanity. And when you embrace disabled individuals, you create a more inclusive world for us all. Thank you.
Scary voices.
All right, thank you so much, MJ. All right, next up, we have the privilege of hearing from two advocates of our LGBTQ plus community. Anita Hart is the founder and president of Sea Pride, an organization that hosts events and support groups for the LGBTQ plus community and their allies in Clarksville. Michelle Lucier is a licensed architect who helps with Open Arms, an LGBTQ plus support group at Trinity Episcopal Parish. She's also a Clarksville Rotary member, wife, stepmother, and possible future city council member.
Yeah.
Oh.
Woot woot. Good afternoon, sisters, allies, and change makers. My name is Anita Hart. I stand before you today as a survivor, a fighter, a mother, and the president of Sea Pride, an organization built on love, inclusion, and hope. I'm here as someone who has lived through life's harshest trials, the highs of love and progress, and the lows of loss, judgment, and injustice. I have survived battles that should never have been mine to fight. I loved a man who came back from a war broken, carrying pain that turned our home into a battlefield. I bore the brunt of his trauma and his war within himself, yet I survived. But survival alone is not enough. The scars remain, and the system that allowed so much of the pain to persist remains too. A system that silences women, controls our bodies, and erases our voices. As a young woman, I faced the system. When I claimed my identity as a bisexual woman, I was expelled from a private school. I attended since kindergarten. They didn't just expel me, they tried to erase me. They withheld my transcripts legally, stripped me of my future education, and told me I didn't belong. For 25 years, I carried the weight of that rejection, but today I stand here as a student at Austin Peay State University, winning a lawsuit. I reclaim the future they tried to take from me, and I fight for a world where no woman, no girl, and no member of the LGBTQ community is ever told they do not belong. Sea Pride exists because the fight is far from over. The same system that tried to erase me is still at work. It's a system that fears difference, weaponizes control, and prioritizes power over humanity. It is a system that tries to limit our futures and force us into outdated roles. The fight for equality, for women, for the LGBTQ community, for all of us, is a shared fight. Not long ago, I faced a late pregnancy scare during menopause. My youngest child was 20, and I was preparing to welcome my first grandchild. And there I was crying on the bathroom floor, not because I feared motherhood. I'd already birthed 4 and raised 8 children, but because I feared loss that would take my choices away. What about the other women like me? Women who have already given decades to raising children. Should we be forced to endure pregnancies in our later years to satisfy politicians who see us as nothing more than baby factories?
No.
No.
Pregnancy during menopause is rare, but it happens. And when it does, the risks are high. Gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, and life-threatening complications. But those making these laws didn't care about our health, our dreams, or our futures. They care about control. I'm tired. Tired of being told my worth is tied to my ability to reproduce. Tired of fighting a system that refuses to see us as human beings. But my anger is fuel. I will not stop fighting until these systems are torn down.
Right.
Until women everywhere can live freely, without fear, without shame, and without judgment. Until LGBTQ plus voices are no longer erased. Until no one has had to fight alone. And I am not here today just to speak about my anger. I'm here to ask you to rise. Rise above the expectations that try to keep us small. Rise above the voices that tell us we can't or we shouldn't. But when you rise, don't stop there. Reach for the woman who feels invisible, for the woman who believes her voice doesn't matter, for the sister who feels trapped under the weight of a system designed to erase her. Equality is not a finish line, it is a foundation. We are the builders. We are the ones who will ensure that every woman, regardless of her race, her sexual orientation, her ability, or her circumstances, has a seat at the table.
Yeah.
If that table is not big enough, according to some, we'll build a bigger one.
Yeah.
We march today for the mothers forced to fight battles they never chose. We march for the daughters who deserve a world without limits. And we march for the sisters, those we know and those we've never met, who are counting on us to be the voice they can't find. When you rise, rise boldly and with fire and determination. And when you reach down, grab tightly. Pull up your sisters, your friends, and even strangers who need your hand. Because every hand we lift strengthens us all. Together, we're not just marching, we're building and we are lifting. We are unstoppable. Together, we will reshape this world, one hand reaching for another. Thank you.
Let me pull mine up now.
Oh, right there.
It's gonna be hard to follow that. But I'm gonna try.
Got you, Michelle.
We got you.
Thank you for allowing me to attend and thank you for coming and thank you for letting me speak. They told me to speak for just a few minutes. I'm gonna try to keep it short. And not only am I doing what all they said, but I'm also a Star Wars geek for any of those. So may the force be with you. To start, yes, I am a trans woman. I came out in March of 2021. You're probably asking why so late. Yeah, and just I'm always late. The reason because I was living a lie. I was living a life that everyone expected me to live. On the outside, I appeared to be a very happy person, but on the inside, I was very unhappy to the point of almost taking my own life. After coming out, I lost my family, including my mother. I got divorced. My 2 grown children stopped talking to me. And by the end of 2021, I was alone and in a dark place. Things changed at the beginning of 2022, though. Not only did I start medically transitioning, but I started a path to build my chosen family. A chosen family is defined as a group of people who are not related by blood or marriage, but who are chosen for the purpose of mutual support and love. Mine started with people from Trinity that I started attending, and then I slowly began meeting people in the LGBT community. You'll be surprised to learn that these 2 communities do overlap. One thing I've learned is if you take time to talk to someone about being trans, they start to understand. All it takes is a willingness to share and a mind willing to listen. Everyone here needs to become a chosen family.
Yes.
Whether you're a straight, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or gender non-conforming, we need to sit down and talk to each other and become a chosen family.
Yeah.
You see, there are those out there that want to pass laws to ban us, to segregate us, and to control us, to make us afraid. They can do this by keeping us separated and fight amongst ourselves. Become that chosen family. I know for a fact that my chosen family pulled me out of that dark place.
Yeah.
And I grew as a person. In a book I'm reading called Love is the Way, the author says we need to make do. Making do is not the same as giving up or giving in to the status quo. It is a way of figuring out how to both survive and thrive. So we need to take what we have, our chosen family, and make it grow and stand up to them and keep them from controlling us. We all must work together and plan for the next election, not just on the national level, but on the local level as well.
Yes.
Each movement doesn't start with a protest or a speech or an article. It starts with the first thought of each individual to get involved. Hopefully that is today. We need to let our political leaders know we are watching and we are acting as one chosen family. Don't let today's rally be the only time you come together. Meet in your homes, restaurants, other rallies, and let them know we are coming together. Be the chosen family.
Hell yeah.
Noises. Yay. Good voice.
All right, before I introduce our next speaker, just a little PSA. If you are freezing like I am with your hands, we have hot beverages and hand warmers over at that table, kind of over by the tree. Our Chaz is also waving hand warmers, so we got you covered. All right, we're approaching our final guest speaker for today. I am proud to announce Destiny James, president of APS Youth Generation Action and Planned Parenthood grassroots organizer for Middle Tennessee.
Okay, so first of all, thank you all so much for coming out. It's so heartwarming to see so many people in the freezing cold weather. But if you've never seen my face before or gotten a few phone calls from me about joining our fight, then hi, it's great to meet you. I'm Destiny. I've never given an inspirational call to action style speech before, and organizing in general is still very new to me. So I find myself reflecting on the steps I've taken to be up here in front of you now. How am I one of the faces of reproductive rights in the city that I just moved to for college? Ultimately, I think it boils down to wanting change. I'm a big believer in the be the change you wish to see mindset, and if no one else is doing it, that just means I should do it.
Right.
But as we've recently seen, nothing will change without momentum or without power. I cannot be the only one advocating for the changes I wish to see in the world. While my passion is big and it feels like it's enough to make the change, it's not, and I can't do it alone. In fact, there's not a single person in this crowd that can make real, true change by standing alone. We all have individual passions and drivers and reasons for braving the freezing cold weather to be here today. Mine, of course, being the belief that no woman or person is free until they have complete control over their own body and mind. But yours. However, without combining forces and becoming one, without advocating for all progressive issues for the sake of intersectional change, we will never be the change we wish to see.
Yeah.
So don't let me stand alone. Our rights are under attack in 2025, and it is critical that we rally together to show our support for reproductive justice. Planned Parenthood is here to stay. No matter what, we will continue to provide healthcare and education.
Yeah.
We will continue providing birth control, family planning services, STI treatment, HIV prevention, gender affirming care, vasectomies, and so much more. We will continue our patient navigation program to help anyone access an abortion who needs one. And we will continue to advocate for all of you. So please come by and visit my table. I'm just there behind you, and learn about our upcoming efforts. And please come and sign our petition against Tennessee's abortion ban. I need 100 signatures by today, so please help me out.
Yeah.
But I'd love to talk to you and help you all get put into our work. Now, without further ado, I want to welcome someone who honestly needs no introduction from me. This woman is an absolute warrior for reproductive justice, and you all know her name. Please welcome former House District 75 candidate Ali Phillips.
All right, Clarksville, how are you feeling, guys? All right. All right, gotta raise the hands. Who's cold? Who wants to go home? Yeah. So I'm gonna make this quick, all right? So first, let me say thank you all for showing up, being out here today. It is so important that we continue to show up. Because when we show up is when we make change. So keep that in mind. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Allie Phillips. I'm 29 years old. I'm a mom to a 7-year-old little girl, and I got one on the way. I'm an activist, former state house candidate, and I'm a survivor of Tennessee's extreme abortion ban. Some of you may know my story and some of you may not. For those that are hearing it for the first time, 2 years ago, I walked into my 19-week anatomy scan with a planned for and wanted pregnancy. There were multiple fetal anomalies, and we were referred to a high-risk specialist. 4 days later, on February 24th, 2023, was the day that my life changed forever. My daughter, Miley Rose, was deemed incompatible with life, meaning she wasn't going to survive in or out of my womb. I was told my health and life would be at risk if I chose to continue my pregnancy, but termination wasn't an option here in Tennessee. Because you see, our GOP passed a trigger ban just 6 months prior with no exceptions to preserve, other than to preserve life of the mother. Shame.
Shame.
I did not qualify for that exception because I was not yet sick enough. So I shared my heartache online. I raised money and I fled the state. I arrived to New York City clinic only to learn that my daughter was already gone. And I was now at risk of going septic. I underwent an emergency abortion completely alone. That experience is what gave me the courage to fight for change. I've shared my story all across the country. I testified in front of our Congress, and I ran for office right here in Clarksville. But that wasn't enough. People are still dying. Rapists are choosing the mothers of their children, and our government is worried about a fucking app. The Supreme Court ruled yesterday that tomorrow TikTok will be banned, stating it does not infringe on our First Amendment right, but silencing over 170 million Americans sure does feel like infringement to me. Our government has forgotten that they work for us and not the other way around. Right. And I'm here to tell you today that an abortion saved my life. I'm a mother by choice, for choice. Yeah. I had to learn the hard way that a positive pregnancy test does not guarantee you a healthy newborn baby. Tennessee holds some of the highest maternal and infant mortality rates. OBGYNs are leaving, turning us into a maternal care desert. Access to prenatal care is becoming next to impossible, and pregnant people are paying the ultimate price. They claim to be pro-life while voting against expanding Medicaid. They claim to be pro-life while Black women are dying at higher rates during childbirth, and they do nothing to stop it. They claim to be pro-life, but do nothing to stop our children from being gunned down in schools. They are not pro-life. They are anti-abortion, because being pro-life is about caring about everyone in or out of the womb. It's time we said enough is enough. Women, we didn't obtain the right to vote by waiting for someone to hand it to us. We must take that first step. We must use our voices even if they shake. The energy that you have today, and hopefully when you're a little warmer, we need that energy at the polls. You have to continue to show up to these rallies, show up to your city council meetings, your school board meetings, any space that is making decisions we need to be at. Stay involved and don't lose hope. Vice President Harris said, "Only when it is dark enough can you truly see the stars." It's easy to drop our heads when we're scared and when we're afraid and when we lose. But don't forget to look up, because if we work together, we will protect, persist, and prevail. Because when we fight, we win. I'm gonna say that one more time. When we fight. Thank you all. Seriously, again, I love every single one of you, and it is so important, one more time, that we continue to show up. So I will see you guys at the next rally, and the next meeting. And we'll continue to show up because movements don't happen overnight, right? It takes time. And we will reach our goals, but we gotta stick together. Thank you.
All right, let's go with all of our speakers. All right, so we are wrapping things up. Thought we would end with a poem written by Mary Richards, and then we'll have some words of action from our co-organizer, Joy Rice. So, without further ado, let's give Mary a big warm welcome. I asked for,
And I am not a public speaker, but here it goes. 8 years later. Here we stand, 8 years later, shocked by those who again chose the traitor. At the edge, we stare into the abyss, on the brink, knowing all that's at risk. Unblinded now, we see what's in store. They'll continue the harm he started before. The same old lies, the same old game, a con man's grin, deflecting the blame. They tell us to fall in line, to quiet our cries, but we remember the voices that cut through the lies. In the streets, in the shadows, in the hearts of the bruised, we march, unbound, though they try to confuse. For power is built on resistance and trust, on standing together when all else is dust. They try to erase us, to silence our song, but history teaches that the silent are wrong. 8 years on, and we're fiercer than before, unyielding in spirit, unbroken at core. The struggle endures, its roots deeper grown. Within the fractures of power, new movements are sown. We are the voices they can't erase, the will of the many, no lie can replace. And though the storm rages and the darkness grows near, we protect, we persist, we prevail without fear.
That is great.
All right, guys. I think that it's entirely unfair that not only I have to follow that power punch of a poem, but I am now the only thing standing between you and the heated seats in your car.
Please, let us free.
So, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Joy Rice. I'm the lead organizer of Clarksville Indivisible, and I am so excited about today. I'm so grateful for you guys coming out. I'd like to take a moment to thank the orgs, the organizations that made this possible. It is not just Indivisible. We did not do this alone. We have Women's March, Indivisible, Planned Parenthood, Montgomery County Democratic Party, Army, and Sea Pride. All contributed to make this possible. We also have representatives here from Sierra Club, Open Arms at Trinity Episcopal Church, Inclusive by Me, and Blood Assurance. I'd also like to thank the police for coming out, for closing the roads, and ensuring that we can exercise our rights without fear of vehicular attack. Most importantly, I'd like to thank each and every one of you. Weekends are precious. You could be anywhere. You could be indoors. If you're not, you're out here with us, and we are so grateful and appreciative of it. So round of applause for you guys. Thank you.
Even that coach.
When we started planning this event, we didn't want to just focus on Trump 2.0. We know it's going to be horrible. It's a sequel. The sequels always work. We wanted to make a space for a channel really for the disheartened and the upset and the angry and the disappointment and the fear and anxiety that's gonna go with this administration. And we wanted to start with making this space. The theme of the march is protect, persist, prevail. You may have picked up on that along the day. What does that mean? What does it mean to protect? Who needs to be protected? I am a straight, white, middle-aged woman that's past her childbearing age. I did not see myself represented in attack ads during this election, but I damn sure saw friends and family and people I deeply care about in those attack ads. That's who we protect. That's who we look after. And it's not just people, it's the institutions. We have to protect our democratic institutions, and we need to do that locally, right here in Clarksville. We need to show up to the city council meetings, show up to the school board meetings, show up to the commissioners meetings, and be seen. They have to see us, they have to know that we're there, that we're paying attention, and that we either like or dislike what they're doing.
Yeah.
Part of protection is to make sure bigots like Travis Holloman do not get elected instead of. And it's making sure that if they do get elected, they don't get re-elected to represent us. That's protection. Now, persisting is a little harder. Persisting means you have to do all that more than once. I remember the first time I ever wrote a congressman, I sat down at the computer and painstakingly typed out all the rational reasons why I support this and they should support this too, and I sent it off. Nothing happened. And I was pissed. I was like, like work, like, per my last email. This is outrage. But politicians don't answer to one person. They answer to a constituency. They don't answer to one person. They answer to movement and groups of people all saying, per my last email. It makes me think of the grocery tax. Democrats in Nashville said, you know what? We have a way. We can end the grocery tax. We can make a difference for people, everyday people right now at the cash register. We're going to end the grocery tax. What do the Republicans do? They're like, oh, liberal, socialist. And then they realized, oh snap. All of our voters also want to pay less at the grocery store. And then the Republicans are like, oh, we have this plan to limit the grocery tax. That's what happens. That's how we prevail, because we persist. Prevailing is the hardest one of all. It's the long view, the long arc, if you will. I have two quotes I'd like to read to you that encompass it very well. I know this crowd, and I know they will recognize each of these. March 31st, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave the speech, Remaining Awake Through a Great Revolution, where he said, we shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. 45 years later, August 28, 2013, at the Let Freedom Ring ceremony, President Obama said, the arc of the moral universe may bend towards justice, but it doesn't bend on its own. So that's the ask. I want you to bend the arc of the moral universe. The good news is you don't do it all. We're not asking you to do it all. Nobody can do it all. We have work, we have school, we have kids to take care of and parents to take care of and life to live. So you don't have to do it all. But I ask that you pick one cause, pick one meeting, pick one organization like Indivisible that you can plug into and plug into the community and just continue to protect and persist and prevail.
Yeah.
Thank you.